To put a coat of paint on the locomotive, I've opened a new can of precision paint. I always use precision gloss paints because that gives me a much better finish. And when you're lining onto a paintwork, you need to line onto gloss. The paint definitely needs mixing. It's a dark green, but all I can see is black on the top, where the black pigment has risen, and I know the yellow pigment has fallen to the bottom. The instrument I use for sort of rapid stirring is just a piece of brass rod with a paddle soldered across it into my mini drill. And the mini drill itself is wired into my trusty H&M miner unit here, which I've had for 40 years and still going strong. So I can control the speed of rotation. If you power it straight into the 12 volts that this normally takes, you'll get paint flying everywhere. So be wary of that. Now, I just insert it in the paint, switch it on, and this actually takes some time. I've got to find the gunge at the bottom. There we are, if you can see the green coming up there. But you've got to stir all through, turn the pot as you go, make sure you get every little bit. But don't let the paddle come out of the paint, because then you get air mix in the paint, which will accelerate its drying and shorten its life. See, I've got a few bubbles there. Right, that should do it. And wipe off. That's ready for next time now. So now we've got to mix this for spraying now. So I pick up the cup I reserved for enamel paints, and I'm mixing it purely with white spirit. And because it's fresh paint and it's not that thick, I'm just mixing it at a 1:1 ratio. The actual ratio used for paint and thinners is a bit of trial and error. As the paint gets older, you may need to mix more thinners in with it. Usually the instructions say about 40% thinners, 60% paint. But I generally find that it's too thick. It's also dependent on the pressure you're putting through your airbrush. I generally spray about 20-25 psi, which gives me the controllability I want. If you increase the pressure too much, you can actually blow the paint off the model, which isn't a good thing. And if the pressure's too low, you don't get full atomization of the paint. And that's the mixing done. That's quick and easy. But we know we've got a fairly accurate measure now for the paint and thinners. And you notice that, again, the thinners went in first. Using the double action airbrush now, the cup just pushes in, and that is now ready. Now to spray the body colour, I just hold the model and put on a latex glove. I've already masked some of the black areas off. Other areas are black, but I'm not too bothered if I get overspray on that, because I can touch that up later. So it's on with the fan again. I'm blowing off the thinners. And there's the paint coming through now. Now when you're painting something like this, you need to concentrate on the detail first, then the bigger areas later. I'm going to put a mist coat to see where the paint isn't going to go, like behind the handrails. So, quick brush off. Then blow some air at it, just to make sure. And we'll start on the front of the cab, because that's an area which can get missed. I slowly open up the air, the paint, and you can see it just coming through now. I see some of the black paint has strayed on to the green areas. That doesn't matter, because the green is a very dense pigment. There's a very fine mist going on, lots of air spraying from about 1 or 2 inches. And just see where the paint is going around the window frames, behind the handrails. I can now open it up. I'm looking for the sheen that develops on the paint when it's fully flooded. Get behind those handrails. The way you spray, whether you go along the boiler or across like this, doesn't make much difference. Depends on the size of the model and the fittings and fixtures on it. Right, that's that side done. Turn it round. It's very easy to forget a painted balance, so it pays to do that first. And that's the engine finished. Once you've sprayed, it's important, especially with coaches, to take the masking off straight away. There are a number of reasons for that. If there's any leakage under the masking, you want to be able to deal with it straight away. Secondly, if a skin of paint forms from where you've freshly painted over the top of the masking and that sets, that skin could be stronger than the adhesion of the paint to what's below it if you've not cleaned properly. And when you take the masking off, you'll take the whole lot off. So we'll just take this off to see if it's okay. That's quite efficient. Because it's a black area, it's actually quite easy to touch up later with a brushwork. That seems okay there. I'll just leave this on for the moment.